Do you want to hear a funny story?
Yes, please.
Yes, please. Yeah. So it doesn't start out funny. Just give me a minute. I was running late the other night to get home for dinner, and I was supposed to help with dinner, and so I said, hey, how about if I stop and pick up dinner? And that was like, yeah, great. What do you want? Bird Call. They love the Bird Call chicken sandwiches. Anybody been to the Bird Call? Okay. I've been there once. Heidi and Hazel go there all the time. So I said, sure. And of course, even then I was running late to get there. So I go, it's right down here. I turn in, I see the lights, I go in. The things they want to order aren't showing up exactly on this menu. So I'm like, I need an original. Okay, that's probably classic. And there's some hamburger alternatives, and I'm still like, all right, it's fine. But the southern chicken sandwich did not appear, so now I'm like, you know what? There's no such thing. I thought you guys ate here all the time. What am I? Really? How about Southwest? No. So this poor girl is trying to help me, and she puts together what she thinks I'm trying to order, and I get another classic. And then I drive off, and I go right past the Bird Call. And I say, oh gosh, I bet that's why that stuff wasn't on the menu. Oh, it gets better. It gets better. So we get home, and Heidi was on a Zoom call downstairs, so Hazel and I get these sandwiches out, and they're like these thin, perfectly circular patties. I take one bite, and I realize this is some kind of a vegan chicken sandwich. I've gone to Next Level Burger, which is a vegan restaurant, to get my family the chicken sandwiches. And this is why we're studying conscious evolution. So I can actually, it's funny, but sometimes this is how we can go through life, right? I just tried, and Hazel was like, I don't think, what is this? And I'm throwing away the bag that says, eat plants. Okay. Thank you for, I think that was a good lightening of our story today. As we're continuing to just explore the invitation to conscious evolution, which is to wake up, to become aware of all that we are aware of, and to grow into living that more fully. And part of that is this awareness and uncovering of our true spiritual essential nature. Hi, Megan. Kind of former YOUer here. And learning how the formation of our ego and our false self kind of tricks us. And as soon as we can kind of figure that out, as we talked about last week, we can see through it a little bit. We can realize this is a way that I have come to know myself and have been protected and all of that, but it's not who I am. And we got to that last week when we thought about, who am I? We went through some of the roles and some of the likes and some of the preferences, even some of the maybe esoteric, who I am is an expression of the divine. But what does that really mean, right? There's part of our mind that says, okay, sure, go get some chicken sandwiches. All right, I'll stop. So our essential nature is natural, spontaneous, and free. And it cannot function when it is restricted by habituated patterns and repressed desires. As our essence of self became identified with habituated personality patterns, we experienced a sense of separation from our true essential nature. And for some reason, I see this really playing out in our world. I see that this is a link, a way that we can begin to understand. Think for yourself where you are in your own understanding of your essential nature versus your personality, the parts you love, the parts you don't. And think how hard you have to work on that to continue to stay connected with it, right? But you're here. You are aware of it. There's an entire group, there's a whole bunch of people that may not even know that, have a glimpse of that, right? And so as much as we're aware of it and working on it and ebbing and flowing with it, we can see a world that is, where would we be if we could all kind of reconnect with that essence, with that truth, and see it in each other, see it for each other, know it for ourselves. And yet we often are in this little internal war with our mind, right? It's just constantly busy and judging and balking. And so we're going to consider this today. Well, I do want to say one thing, that Unity's co-founder Charles Fillmore talked about the ego in two different ways. He talked about what he called the adverse ego, which is when the ego attaches itself to sense consciousness. It builds what he called the Antichrist, who has no basis in reality. This is kind of our false self. It's not real. And it is this adverse ego that causes all the trouble in the world. Its selfishness and greed make humanity grovel in the mire of materiality when they might soar in the heavens of spirituality. So then he talks about the possibility of an ego that is aligned with our spiritual truth, which is what we're learning about. The true self, when the ego, the spiritual sense of the ego, when the true self is an individualized center of God consciousness, the I am is the center of our awareness. The truth of us, the God of us, the fullness of us is the center of our awareness. And then all the other stuff follows. So the first step, Charles Fillmore also said, the first step in spiritual transformation is self-awareness. Oh, don't you want it to be another step? Like, oh, maybe it's step dance or something funner? No, it's so we get a look at what's going on inside of us, because we have that other fun thing that we do, that the way that the ego works, called projection, right? What we can't see and own in here, we start seeing out here. Anybody experience that? That's a hard wake-up call. But it's a clue. It's a clue of ways that we can look inside ourselves to see where we are perhaps feeling separate, feeling places in us where we have forgotten our wholeness, where we need to reconnect with our essential nature. So we're going to consider this through the eyes of, you guessed it, a tiger. There you go. Okay. Many of you know the story of Mohini the tiger. If you're reading the book, you know it. Mohini the tiger was a gift to the United States back in the 1960s. She was a rare and majestic white tiger that came to reside at the zoo in Washington, D.C. And where she came to reside at that point was like a 12 by 12 enclosure. Very small. And so she spent her days pacing in a circular 8, just over and over, every day, all day. Now she was magnificent, and people came to see her, and finally it was like, she probably needs a fuller habitat, right? So they built this beautiful lush habitat with acres of grass and trees and a pond where she could explore the fullness of her natural habitat. And so the day came, they were so excited to bring her in there. What did she do? She went to the furthest corner and began her pacing in 12 by 12. Infinite circle 8s every day for the rest of her life. Mm-hmm. And this story is used for us to consider how some of those self-imposed cages keep us in the same patterns, keep us constrained, keep us unaware of the fullness of life that we're a part of, right? And Mohini did that initially to survive, right? She was out of her element, and so she did what she had to do to remember her element, perhaps, or to feel safe, to feel steady. And now she had more. This is the kind of the story of, as we learn the moreness of us, how often do we kind of repeat in those habituated patterns? Robert Brumet in the book says that most of us are naturally saddened by this story, perhaps because we might identify in some way with Mohini, recognizing that we run some of the same mental patterns that keep us from seeing the fullness of our life. Instead, we see that familiar worn-out patch of grass. The tiger is a symbol of wildness, freedom, power, and beauty, and these are the qualities of our own essential nature, present within each one of us. And it seems tragic enough when this natural aliveness is blocked by external circumstances, such as the original cage that housed Mohini. But the level of tragedy feels even greater when the external cage has been internalized and keeps one a prisoner long after the bars have been removed. The bars still exist, but only in the mind. Like Mohini, we each found a way to cope with the limitations that were imposed upon us. We developed a certain habitual mental pattern that dulled the pain that arises when our essential nature is stifled. And we survived by conforming, living less than the fullness of our life. In that process, we lost touch with our essence, and in many cases, we learned not to trust it. That's the key element. Mohini didn't have a choice, but we do. Right? To choose how we focus, how we live our lives, to expand beyond any internalized prisons. I was reminded of a hospice study. I've shared this with you over the years. I think she was a nurse, yes, a hospice nurse. And she just sort of did a casual inquiry around people who were dying to learn from them. And their number one regret, you have any ideas what their number one regret was? Not that they didn't have a white tiger. What they didn't do. It was summarized by, they wish they'd had the courage to live true to themselves. How many of you know what that means on some level? Experience that in your life. Yeah. So that is what, and I would say that that is our essential nature, our true nature that we have been disconnected with. And our, at various levels, I know it's not severed, it's just forgotten. Or our attention has gone elsewhere, or we have imposed these sort of limitations upon ourselves. So Robert Brumet has this interesting little thought experiment that we're going to go on, where we imagine that we hire a therapist to help Mohini to break free from the mechanical routine and to live a fuller life in her new environment. This hypothetical therapist might begin by asking her about her present experience. How's she feeling? What's she aware of? Is she aware that she's no longer living in this cage? If and when Mohini could see her present reality, then the therapist might point out that she has a choice to make. She can continue her routine and feel safe, or choose to live differently and be more alive and free. But the price of freedom is not small. Mohini would need to face her feelings about having had her wild nature crushed by being forced to live in a small cage for so many years. She would likely discover a great deal of rage. That energy would need to be discharged safely. Lots of roaring would ensue. Eventually, she would feel intense grief resulting from her lost freedom, and then Mohini would need to learn how to function in a completely new way in her new environment. This is the way in which Robert lets us know that recovering of our full self is not always an easy process, because we have to reconnect with the places that we have lost touch with, and perhaps the places that we have deemed unworthy, in that shadow self that we create, that gets created, that seems so scary because somehow it interfered with our well-being and our getting our needs met, but it's still part of us, and we can connect with it lovingly, compassionately. Perhaps Mohini didn't have the ability to make the choice for healing, but we always do. No matter what our past choices have been, we can make a new one right now. We can always develop and choose the meaning that we are giving the present moment experience. We can do this consciously or unconsciously. And only if we do it consciously can we make new choices and find new ways to understand our life's experiences. We can choose to reclaim our lost essence, which is always possible because our essential essence is never lost. We've just disconnected from it and had layers of other things to work through, yes? So to heal is to release the illusions that we have embraced as truth. The illusions of our limitations, the illusions perhaps of the roles that we play and the part that we play in that as defining who and what we are. Important they are. So like Mohini, our essential nature is natural, spontaneous, and free. It cannot function freely when it is restricted by habituated patterns and repressed desires. I'd like you to consider for yourself, with a partner, it's been a while, there's Mohini. She is beautiful. Just one correlation that you see between this story of Mohini and our own self-imposed limits that may keep us from knowing and expressing our essential nature. Is there something in that story that you can connect with? Share it with a partner. Please, find a partner. Self-imposed limitations. All right. It looks like you might have had a correlation. You might have found something to chat about that reminded you, perhaps, of our own self-imposed limitations. It's where it comes to life, right? When we try to see how it occurs in and through our experience. So thank you for doing that. I know that's not always comfortable, but it's a good way to get connected as well. So now Laura and I are going to do a little extended meditation to kind of work through this experience individually. She has this gorgeous song that I've been trying to figure out how we can work in as a process. So this is going to be part of our meditation. So just invite you to take a deep breath. We're going to be considering this reclaiming, this fullness of our natural habitat, if you will, our true essence, which is divine. So we'll take a little more time in this, and the music will be coming in and out to guide you. So just get comfortable and just begin the process as we do, feeling your feet on the ground and your tailbone in your seat, feeling your seat supporting you, taking a deep breath in. Just allowing yourself to be right here, right now. All is well in this moment. And so just feel the air on your skin, the support behind your back, relaxing your physical body, and just being open to what is alive in you through this discussion and through this time of meditation. And if at any time it feels like too much, just come back to your breath and the air on your face, right back into this moment. We're just going to start by letting this music call our awareness inward, noticing your experience of it. Just take a moment to consider your life's journey up to this point. The collection of experiences that have been your life. All that you've done and become. All of your accomplishments, your success, as well as your losses and regrets. Noticing how you have overcome. And all that you have discovered about yourself along the way. And just graciously and lovingly holding everything that you are. Through the glimpse of all that has been, making space for all the aspects of yourself. Just breathe into all that you are as an individual expression of the great I Am. So much more than the mold of your personal identity. While it's done a wonderful job, it's not all of you. And so just take this invitation to breathe into the fullness that you are, beyond those perceived limits, those molds, that place within you that longs to know the depth of itself, and to live true to that self. This is the true essence of your being. It is of spirit itself. Any distance or separation has been a misperception. You can never be separated from your essence. The essence of you is whole, strong, and free. You are spirit, calling itself me. And this is what you've come here to be.
There's no greater feeling than loving myself, body and soul. And the pain just goes away. Out in a new world, as a creation perfect and whole, in loving flow, I am ready to be who I came here, who I was made to be. Oh, I'm ready to be everything that I am, everything that I am ready to be. I am ready to be who I came here to be. I'm ready to be everything that I am, everything that I am. I am the I am, I am the I am. I am the I am, I am the I am. I am the I
This is your essential nature, the I am of you, that has ultimately seen you through all the way to this very day. Strengthening you, guiding you, renewing you, freeing you, calling you to know all that you are. So make that connection now to hear that call. Let it strengthen you to break any molds, reclaiming the places and the spaces within you that have been confined. We can choose this day to be more free, to be everything that we came here to be. Knowing that our essential nature is never lost. Always seeking to be uncovered and reclaimed.